Hi everybody, this is Timmana, host for the session, Timmana Gowda, founder and CEO of Watts Loan. I'm a fintech company, have been operating across agri, consumer and MSME segments. I've got a ChatGPT's experts here and I have to come up with the curious questions as like a practitioner of fintech who has touched MSMEs, agri MSMEs and the consumers. When you go to the lower end, there is no difference between whose family becomes a consumer when they want to borrow for some themselves. They are a business borrowing when they want to borrow for business. They could also, when you go to the micro and medium, you will also have agriculture background. So it's quite a mix, Like I think Sir will agree and accept when we go to him that it is a family unit. It is not a single individual borrowing. The whole family will be borrowing. I've faced this working with Gramina banks, cooperative banks, public sector banks. So I'm going to just allow them to introduce themselves, and we know that we have a banker. There's a fintech here asking curious questions. There's a person who's handling data, and somebody who's handling the working with MSMEs. They're solving the toughest problem for them. The pain is recovering the monies that after you have sold the goods and services. Then we have a professor who's looking ahead and building the MSMEs for the digital enablement, and how to make. There is so much of digital happening. Are they consuming that? So my first question will start with sir, that see, I always say there has to be an incentive to do something. If an MSME, micro and medium, let's go to the micro and small for now, and the medium, or maybe they are doing. What is the incentive for them? One is a compulsion, that is complying with certain things, accounting and governance. Governance is not so high, it is at least accounting. Your tax paying, GST filing, or your employer records, and those are requiring the digital interfaces. And another incentive is, can I get better loans, lower interest, and can I submit a file? We call it the form factor. Applying for a loan is being a banker for 20 years, I know that it's so painful. We process very well fast, but by the time he enters the door as an accepted application, even if it is a consumer or a Kisan credit card or a MSME loan is definitely, it's a 2-3 months job to prepare a file. Today we're going to explore how we're going to simplify that using all these three people. And to reach there, I have got a good panel that I start from here and I reach there. If I don't reach there, there's no incentive. Why am I doing this? Getting the credit at the least friction, most convenient. Even my turnaround time has been reduced from 40 minutes to 30 minutes because we are digital. So we're going to do that in 30 minutes. Sir, let me start with you. What do you think should be the incentive for an MSME who just may not be very well educated? It could be educated. You might have the next generation. But if it's a family business, the top man is calling the shots. What are the decisions are taken? What are the incentives for the MSMEs to go digital? Where are we today? And where will we get in 2030?
Thank you, Timmana. Good evening, everyone. My name is Vinish Chawla, and I am responsible for the entire operation of Punjab National Bank in the state of Gujarat. So about MSME, I think we all know MSMEs are backbones of our country. It is like everything for banks also. So everyone wants to actually facilitate MSME and in a professional manner also. Now you have asked about incentives for MSMEs if they go to digital. I think this is your question right now. So just want to, sir, here submit my point of view that providing credit to MSME is a good thing, but best thing is that when we will provide them credit, timely and adequate credit. So by going digitally, basically lenders would know when the MSME need credit and how much credit they require. So basically, as in the earlier session also, someone was telling that nowadays lenders are going to cash flow based lending. So why creating digital footprint by an MSME? It is very easy for the lender to actually know what is their credit requirement. And their submission of paper and other formalities also reduce very much when they create their digital footprints because they are verifiable. Banks are nowadays integrated their systems with unified lender interface like GST, Aadhaar website, and all these channels. So it becomes easy for bankers to provide immediate credit. You are talking about turnaround time. So I would like to inform here that we have products where the MSMEs can take disbursement within half an hour. So this is the incentives which I would say the digital MSMEs have and the physical MSMEs do not have. This is the basic incentive.
Thank you, sir. I'll come up for a follow-up question on that. I think let's talk about the right data and the wrong data. You're in the right place of the data side, right? We have done Aadhaar. We did DigiLocker. We put the Aadhaar and the whole lot of documents there. Luckily, I've been involved in those activities of Ministry of Electronics. We got entity DigiLocker now, right? For business, there is a DigiLocker.
I see.
Not yet fully operational, but it's a good place to go. We're also asking for Agri and Farmer DigiLocker next.
Nice.
That's part of Agri stack and all that. One, I want to ask you about the accessibility. Okay, there's so much data available. I think government is doing better than what banks and fintechs can do. Access that data. There's so much information available, but we are not able to use that for the decisions that should be taken. For example, I'll come back. We're still at the balance sheet level, asset level, collateral level. We have not gone to the cash flow based lending, right? Though we talk about it, Oken is there. I'm one of the first guys to build on top of Oken in 2020. I'm running one platform on that. Only one private finance company, which is an MNC, has accepted that. Not any Indian company has accepted. So what do you think is, one is availability of data? What are you facing on the quality of data? If the quality is not coming, even I'm not going to give it to the banks because I will stop at that, because they will hold me responsible on the source, quality, and applicability.
Yeah, thank you so much. Firstly, just want to introduce myself, Vasu Satanpalli. I'm the founder, CEO, and chief architect for Right Data. While I'm actually living in the US, my roots are here in India. I came from a rural family background. My father is a teacher at the same time, a farmer. So I definitely can empathize, and I definitely can see the pains and aspirations of a rural entrepreneur. That being said, to answer your specific question, Mr. Timmana, is having right data at the right time to the right people is a word that we have seen, especially in the data world, for quite a long time. If you, just my experience, actually, I come here, while we have a presence here in Hyderabad, we have a significant number of employees here. So I come here quite often. Every year I come, I see revolutionary changes when it comes to digitalization. You mentioned about the DigiLocker. You mentioned about, obviously Aadhaar, and then all these initiatives are phenomenal. And I think that India is digitalized for sure. I think what's next in my mind is the enabling and empowering people with the right type of data, and then empower AI. There's a lot of aspirations for starting. I'm quite surprised to see even the public sector units, government units, and also obviously the enterprises are actually looking at adopting AI. But the fundamental challenge that everyone is facing is the quality of the data, reliability of the data. Do I have right type of data available at the right time? So these are the three fundamental problems. I think there has to be platforms made available, not just for the large enterprises, including the MSMEs, because even MSMEs do need to make strategic decisions. I think for the most part, MSMEs are all intuition driven, especially from a strategy. Operations, yes, there are digital tools that are available, but when it comes to business strategy and all that stuff, they still have to rely on their intuition, which is what the fundamental shift that I see, when it comes to where I live. So I've been living in the US for the past 27 years. I see the quite contrast from here to there, a rapid pace of development here, a lot of good things happening. But one thing that I think India is in the process of adapting in my mind is empowering MSMEs with the right type of data channels, so that they can be they make more strategic decisions. It's not just the large enterprises and mid enterprises, also the rural enterprises, rural small businesses should be able to think strategically. You make the data-driven decisions. That's
Thank you.
only possible with the
Yeah,
quality
I
of
have
the
a
data.
follow-up question on that. I'll come to Professor. Yeah. So we have banker and who's demanding that if a file comes to me, if I have to accept that file, it has to be perfect. There got two issues. One is at the time you enter the bank, and after I've given you the money, how I'm going to get data to monitor you. There's a certain amount because they're dealing with the businesses, right? Their sales, balance sheets. If you're a cash credit and all that, or CGTMSC, they have to monitor how it is utilized, right? So at the enablement level, skilling level and all that, do you think, we should just uh, go into the intuitive level, like, WhatsApp, nobody has got a university for WhatsApp or a Facebook teaching skilling and all that. I've been a big believer of, it should be extremely intuitive. You're not going to skill them. Don't skill them on digital side of it. Enable them. Like sir was saying, it has to be digitally enabled. It should not be digitally direct. It is still a assisted model. It is not completely own model. For example, when I use my phone, my son says your uncle type. What it means is the way you use a keyboard. They are like, no, there's a difference. There's a generation difference. 30, if you're 30 years different, are you going to take those old generation, reskill them, get them back into their semi-literate, not very literate, or they're not English, Hindi, and all that. They might be vernacular. How are you planning that? Towards, because we have to unburden the land, agree MSMEs, other trading, logistics, manufacturing. We have to get to food processing and all that. We have to get to. What is your institute doing about it? And how are you going to make it intuitive as well as make them aware about why these compliances are required now under the DPDP Act and rules? What are your thoughts on that?
Uh, Namaste to everyone. Thank you. This is Dr. Suman Kumar Das. Actually, I particularly work in the field of circular economy and Industry 4.0 for the digital adoptions. And particularly the question is very much valuable for us, because when you are thinking about rural India, we need to know and understand about the demography of it. Now the rural India, if you know about it, like around 500 million people are using internet in rural India. But if you look into the scales, who are using it, like around 15 years to 30 years, I think 80% of the people are 15 years to 80 years. But fortunately or unfortunately, the rural India enterprises, or maybe the MSME who belongs to rural India, as belongs to the age more than 50 years. Like if you look into the who is the owner, what is their age is a completely different. So now here, when you're trying to adapt this MSME, like digital technology, we have to address in two ways. First, though we have to be literate. We cannot literate them, because if you're looking into the youth, they are already aware about lot of technological point of view. They are in a front face are there. But now we need to have, they understand about digital. They use internet, but while using the digital adoptions or digital technology for business, they are somewhere behind it. It's a very simple example. I just want to give it. Everyone using ChatGPT there also, they know about it. But that make it so easy. They can talk in ChatGPT in the vernacular system also. Okay. And in India also, there is two different, like Vasini. If you know about the Vasini, that Indian government started about these things, or if you go to the IIT Madras, they have some AI for Bharat. They created two different applications. Now is our tech, how you are taking these advantages and reaching towards to the our youth India, youth rural India. But second thing is the who is the owners of the companies, like they are more like a 40 years to above and little bit. They are little bit difficult. They are facing little bit difficult about it, like adapting the digital technologies because of lot of issues. They don't trust that one, and they know that like when they're trying to use some kind of things, it is take a little times to have their muscle memory. So for that reason, they are lethargic about it. Now we have to give us some systematic training for that, which we are doing. It's called hand-holding programs for them, for like a payment system. UPI. If you want to start some business, start with the UPI business rather than keeping more into money. This is the first one. Second thing, if you want to create some, let's see, I just want to give a good example in EDII that did it. Like here's creating a cluster of cloths. It's called Badarwas. If you know about the Badarwas jacket, there the rural women entrepreneurship we are focusing on. Then we are focusing, trying to say them like how you are putting into the Instagram, putting some hashtag into the Instagram so that it is easy for them to understand and reach to the customers they want it. So it's like a two different way of approaches we are following, if I believe in this way, so that it is easy for to upskilling someone and other one to just enriching them for the adoptions of this one. So there's thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think every commerce is e-commerce. Every e-commerce has a fintech in it,
Exactly.
digital in it. So yeah, I think there's one side we have one ONDC, other side we have OCAN. Yeah, we'll come back to that. And I'm going to come to you, Vinny. See, we have an MSME Act, and we've been saying that okay, the big boys have to pay the small guys on time, right? Now, one is about how I think 2018 around that they've implemented. Have you seen any implementation of that? One is that. Secondly, how are you enabling? I know once you sell, the toughest one, as once he lends, sir, when he lends, toughest thing is to collect, right? Like once you sell, you sold on credit, so the toughest thing is to collect. So what we say is in collection, being a banker, I say is if you create systematic processes, it will improve your chance of recovery, like including the early warning systems. What are you doing about, forget about the credit, the working capital loans and all that later, just to get your money. So somebody was giving on credit and how to collect that. How are you using the digital technologies to enable these MSMEs and also making them aware that, okay, there is a law which is protecting you and you should collect money on time. Don't create the 60, 90 days working capital gap and go to the bank unnecessarily. They're happy to do, they're doing their business, but I feel that you should have got that money back from the customer, not from the bank, right? So your thoughts on that.
So hi, I'm Enosh from Recordent. So we are a credit and collections management platform. Specifically, that's okay. So we are a credit and collections platform, especially designed for Indian MSMEs. So we have looked at the problems of SMEs specifically and design a platform to enable them that. So if you look at this problem, it's not a very objective individual level problem. It's an ecosystem problem. It's a cultural level problem, right? So the best practices have to come at an ecosystem level. So an accounts receivable management, a digitization using a digital tool for accounts receivable management is as important as an ERP or as important as a CRM system where you organize your sales funnel. Right? It is as important as that because an entrepreneur, whether it be a rural entrepreneur or an urban entrepreneur, they spend so much of their time worrying about collections. They spend so much of their time and energy and their resources as well worrying about getting back the money. So a digital tool not only brings organization, but also brings best practices which are there in the market. There are developed economies who have adopted these practices long back. So we have not come there. We have not reached there. So by reaching that place, at an ecosystem level, we are solving the problem of an ecosystem because the cost of credit affects every point of the value chain, not just one individual business or one individual module of a value chain. It's an ecosystem problem. So it has to be addressed at that level. Culturally, the change has to be made at an ecosystem level. So one point of the value chain pinches the next one, and it extends. It keeps extending. So not just as a digital tool, but as an organized way of working, this enables the entrepreneurs by having an account receivables digitization. Right?
Thank you. I'll come back to you again. This is back to Sir again. So we've been talking about like a lot of DPIs, DPZs, the data is available, which we spoke about, quality of data and all that. we have progressed very well. I'm very happy about being a fintech, working with the banks, including agri, land records, crop records, the whatever. We have been very happy on what we have got. Being a banker, again, I feel that our credit models stuck in time. They're 40-year-old. If you talk about housing loan, it came from Citibank or somewhere there, and HDFC adopted, and we would have copied 1,000 times thereafter. So must be there is some background to MSME loans. Agri loan, maybe it's original, what is done by NABARD. We have not moved a bit on, person. We're still on the collateral, the point in time balance sheets, which if you ask the owner, tell me about your balance sheet, he doesn't know his balance sheet. His chart account knows the balance sheet. It was done for a purpose. Then maybe we are moving away because a lot of like GST is online, everything is online now. It's getting cleaned up now. So as a bank, sir, you are one of the largest banks. Have you worked on in the last 3-5 years, post the digital that has happened, on the credit models to suit the amount of data that is available? Because today it's just information. It is not a consumable knowledge. Because your credit models, I had this problem. When we tried to do digital KCC, policy wouldn't allow me. I had to go back to RBI Innovation Hub and tell them, policy doesn't allow me. So we'll change the policy. I mean, it happened. Today we were able to do 3 minutes Kisan credit card loan up to 2 lakhs. So is there any such policy change that is being taken to your board or the central office level policy making? Because all this has to meet, finally, it has to meet the requirement of lending. And secondly, what are you doing on the early warning systems, which he think he'll be very useful to you and he'll be very useful to you? Yeah, I want this.
Thank you, Timmana. You rightly said that the financial ecosystem presently available is just an information. But this is also a fact that bankers and all other lenders are moving rapidly towards digitalization. And I would say that it is easier and good for banker or lender also to provide loan digitally rather than physically. Because when we process any file physically, we leave a lot of things due to paucity of time, or we can say paucity of available information. While the same file, if we process digitally, we have a good number of inputs available there. For example, say me, sir, and you went to a bank and we have presented our file. All of three have similar CIBIL score of 700. So while processing that file physically, we all three are at the same state of affairs. But while processing that file digitally, we come to know that mine scores have been deteriorated from 750 to 700 for the last 6 months. Sir's score is remained same for the last 6 months, and you have upgraded from 650 to 700. So it is more scientific for bankers to process any loan digitally rather than physically. So banks are moving rapidly towards digitalization. They have made a lot of policy changes at their end. We are not dependent on earlier historical financial statements or core assets of the company on which we were earlier relying for repayment. Now what we are seeing, what is the borrower's current state of affairs, what is his current willingness to repay the debt. On the basis of that, the credit scoring model which we develop with the help of fintechs take decision to provide or not provide credit. So this also take care of early warning signals. When our underwriting would be better, stress would be definitely come. Moreover, when we have portfolio in the digital mode, we can have more scientific monitoring of that portfolio. We can see in which pocket our portfolio is getting stress, or which say sector is feeling stress as of now. So it is also taking care of our early warning signal systems. Moreover, we have a lot of checks and balances placed in our systems which give triggers when some account or some industry or some portfolio is getting some stress. So we are largely taken care of all these things while processing these payments.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I'll come to you on the latest DPDP Act and rules. We've been having a field day free, and now there's going to be a lot of permission layered data. A lot of public data also is becoming private permission data. It used to be public land record, for example, public permission data to private permission data. So when you deal with the data, how are you, like, you would have, since you worked in US and you would have adopted GDPR and all that. I think we are better than that. We are going to be golden standard for,
Yes.
and
Yes.
when I read through, and it's quite tough, on fintechs to reimagine. If I'm an LSP, loan service provider, and you will be my data specialist, how do you help me to govern follow these rules,
Yeah,
Your
absolutely.
views.
I mean, I'll just take a minute and then give a quick background on this. I mean, so our company, Right Data, is actually built the software is built in India, sold for the rest of the world, in US, North America, and then UK, and so on. Recently, we started exploring and then actually expanding our presence into India, especially for the ones that you just mentioned, the DPDP. In the past, data focus was there, but not as much governance. But now the governance has become a pinnacle aspect, and then AI adoption has been skyrocketing. For AI, you need to have a proper governance in place. So hence, we felt this is the right moment, and where our software that is being built in India can be helpful for India. So that's more from a business perspective, and also from emotion perspective. I feel this is the right time for us to get in. So to answer your specific question on the DPDP Act, and then how credit lenders should be using those governance and policies. Yes, our software currently is being used to enforce GDPR compliance and SOX compliances in the rest of the world. When I'm here, that's the rest of the world. And then when we are there, and we say India is the rest of the world. From a DPDP perspective here, I think the important thing is coming up with a checklist of things in terms of what are the various compliances and compliances to be adhered to. Predominantly, if you see 80% of it is data, one way are connected to the data. There's a PII and then PCI data, and then how do we actually make sure the right level of access protocols are being followed, anonymization is being done. So these are the various things that needs to be automated. More important, because where the adoption problem comes is, you can set all the regulations and governances. If the process is not powered with automation, it becomes a hindrance for either a lender or borrower. It becomes a hindrance for them to follow those. So that's where India has been doing great from a digitalization. I think that data-drivenness, AI-poweredness is where the next level of quantum leap that India should be taking. I think it's already in process. I already see, including the banks, are actually adopting not just a digitalization, also they're adopting quite a few governance and automation policies, which is one reason why we're here, actually. So we already are helping one of the largest farmers banking here. So yeah, it's just to summarize, automation is the key, and simplification is the key, and then adoption automatically comes.
Thank you. Yeah, if you are sitting on a policy advocacy. Okay. So I'll just ask a couple of questions. If you were to sit on a policy advocacy advising the government and central bank and some of the banks, what are the one or two things that you will pick up? Any one of you can answer that. What are the three things that you will pick up that this should be done to do digitizing the MSMEs to take India to Viksit Bharat?
So I'll take the case study of Mittelstands of Germany. So Mittelstands of Germany, they are based out of small towns across Germany. And for centuries now, the small manufacturing units of Germany, they concentrate on a niche technology, and they become the global number ones in that specific space, right? So how they operate is they take advantage of the close connectivity of the town. For example, we are talking about different digital data pointers that are here. Probably we can look at much very lateral data pointers which are not objective but subjective. Like they have house banks within the town, located within the town. So these house banks are so well connected with one or two industries located within the town, which become the identity of the town. So the town is so well connected that probably the branch manager of that house bank and the operations manager of the plant and the accountant probably sit together in the brewery in the evening. So the amount of subjective data they know about the company enables them to take higher amount of. So probably policymakers can look at these things and probably come up with more, more open-minded policy. There are people like Punjab National Bank sitting here. Probably if they can look at these kind of national intelligence, probably that can power rural MSMEs. Like that data is available right now. That is subjective data. It's not objective data. Probably we can look at that for policy making, right?
So I just want to say, because we have less time, so I just want to like say 3 points. First, we have to be some the policy as a policy. We have to support these no effort tools, digital tools, no effort digital tools that rural India really adapt that one, because we heard about no code tools and all those things, but no effort tools are still in the exactly, they will very quickly pick that one. Second thing about, like, we have a lot of identity, digital identity. So one of the before the speaker say about, like, it is very difficult to take in a loan and all those things. If the digital identity for a rural entrepreneurship is happen, it is more important, so they can get easily monetize their for the apply the loans or getting the loans, or the CIBIL score that you were saying about, because CIBIL score is some kind of formalized in India. So we have to think about some kind of things like this way. So third one, digital literacy. So how you promote the digital literacy in school level, higher secondary level, or more into the adulthood education levels, that should be a kind of a policy level of advocacy I would like to do.
Yeah, I got an answer that we have to move from there, that is KYC, to here a KYS, know yourself. Self digital financial identity, where we will not apply for a loan, but banks will come to us, you know. With that note, I thank all panel members, and thank you, NABARD. This has been an excellent opportunity for us to express our views. Thank you so much.